Welcome to our video series introducing you to web graphics. In this video, we'll explore how to create screenshots and how to use them. In this video, I'm going to talk you through how to take screenshots, which are also known as screen grabs. First of all, let's go to the desktop, and this is how the desktop currently looks. And on my keyboard, if I just press Print Screen with the Print Screen button, which is on my keyboard sort of to the top right of the letters, just next to the F12 key, just press the Print Screen button once, and what that does is that it takes a copy. It takes essentially a photo of the way your screen looks right now and stores or remembers it temporarily. What it actually does is that it saves it to the Windows clipboard, which is a temporary storage area in memory so that you can then paste it. So effectively, it just copies your computer screen as it currently looks and then just keeps it in memory until you're ready to paste it. So if I open OpenView and choose Edit, Paste, it pastes it in, you see. I now have a new image which I can make changes to and save, and the image is my desktop. For example, let's say I was doing a tutorial on using Windows XP, and I wanted an image of the taskbar and Start button. So let's do a selection. Let's click, hold, and drag, and select this, for example, and edit, crop. Okay, OpenView tends to shrink the window when you do a crop, so let me just maximize it. And there we go. So you can see that I took a quick screenshot of the desktop and pasted it into OpenView and cropped it, and now I have the taskbar and Start button, so I can have that as a new image, perhaps on my website, if I have a tutorial about XP, for example. So that's a very easy way to do screenshots. However, sometimes you may want to do a lot of screenshots in a row, and there's an even easier way to do it. If you go to Options, Capture Screenshots, and with this option, you can take multiple screenshots, screen grabs, one after the other, effectively as many as you want. So let's talk through the options. What is the capture area? What area of the screen are you capturing? The entire screen? The foreground window? And for example, this is a foreground window. This is a separate window, and if you selected foreground window, you would capture this, but everything else in the background effectively, which doesn't have the focus, that would not be captured. Or you can have foreground window client area. Generally, what I've done is just go with whole screen and then just crop images as I need to. Okay, capture method automatic every so many seconds. So every 600 seconds in this case, which would obviously be every 10 minutes, which is quite a long period of time between them. Generally, I've gone with hotkeys. And a hotkey is a keyboard combination. So here, Control and the F11, Control plus F11. So hold down the Control key and press F11, or you can change this if you want to. You put your cursor here and press the backspace key, and that gets rid of the hotkey, but obviously you need a hotkey if you're going to be using this method. So then you just touch the keyboard in the way you want to create the hotkey combination. So if you're going to do Control plus something, you just hold down the Control key, you see. Then let's say Control plus 5, for example. So that could be the hotkey. The problem with hotkeys is that sometimes some key combinations clash with other programs. So be a little bit careful that the keyboard combination you're using doesn't clash with something else, with another piece of software. So backspace again to get rid of that, or you can choose whatever you feel is appropriate. Let's go with Control and F7. Let's go with that. Then, do you want to include the mouse cursor or not? Let's say yes. And then the option is Saving Method. Do you want to show the captured image in Viewer? If you choose that, each time you take an image, it shows it in OrphanView, and then you have to save it. Obviously, this isn't the most efficient way of working. Choosing this option is effectively the same as just pressing Print Screen and then pasting it into OrphanView. So generally, if you're going to capture lots of images, I would go with Save Captured Image as File, and OK, that's code for a certain file name. It calls it capture underscore, and then it adds the day, month, year, hour, minute, seconds to make it a unique file name. Obviously, they're not very usable file names, so you may have to rename all the images afterwards. But at least in this way, you know in what order they've been saved just by looking at these values. And then Destination Directory, where do you want to save the images to? So you just browse if you want to change that. And finally, which format do you want to save the images as? I generally save them as bitmaps in the first instance. Let's click on Options, and actually Bitmap doesn't have any options. I'm clicking, but nothing comes up. Whereas if I chose JPEG, we could choose the usual JPEG format options. So effectively, those are the options. Which area do you want to capture? Full screen, foreground window, or foreground window client area. Capture method, automatic or hotkey, and then you can set the hotkey. Do you want to include the mouse cursor? Yes or no? Do you want to show the captured image in Viewer? Which again I don't recommend because then it's effectively just the same as pressing Print Screen. And then copying and pasting into OrphanView. Save captured image as file. You can customize the file name if you want, but if you leave it as the default, it will call it capture underscore and then add the day, month, year, hour, minute, and seconds as numbers to really customize the file. And then, of course, you'll need to go back through those files and rename them to something more usable. Destination Directory. Where do the files get saved to? And finally, the format that the files get saved as. So let's start with this. Let's do Start. So now Control F7. And because I've actually chosen to save them to the desktop, the first one has appeared here. So let's do another one. Let's go to Paint.net. Control F7. Let's go to GIMP. And actually do a Control F7 now to take a picture of the menu. And let's bring up Blue Hills. Control F7. Okay, so we've taken 4 screenshots. Let's go back to OrphanView and let's have a look at these images. So open, and I've gone to the desktop so you can see how they get saved. And select that one and open. And this is how this screenshot looks, you see. And the mouse as well, the mouse pointer. And let's have a look at the next one. This is a screenshot I took of the sunset in Paint.net. And this is the other one I took in Paint.net. And it was actually of the menu, the taskbar menu here. And let's see the next one. And this is the last one I took of the Blue Hills, which I opened in GIMP, the editor GIMP. So you see, that's how you take multiple screenshots using OrphanView. And then, of course, in OrphanView or Paint.net or GIMP or whatever editor you prefer to work with, you can make changes in the images. As I previously mentioned, for example, you may want to crop elements of the image to tidy them up, such as the selection I've made there. And actually, let's do that again. I was just trying to select the Blue Hills image here. Image, crop, edit crop, rather. And there you go, it's done. And then I can choose, for example, File, Save As, and rename it to a more meaningful file name so that I know exactly what it is. And then once I've made the necessary changes and saved the files, then I'm ready to upload them to the web and display them on the site. Lastly, I'll mention to round out this video, what I've used this software for in the past isn't so much web graphics, well, in some instances web graphics, but it works very well for tutorials. Let's say, for example, that you're doing a tutorial on how to use IrfanView. You would do every single step, step by step. Let me show you. Let's maximize IrfanView. There we go. And let's say I wanted to put this tutorial on the web. I would do File, and then take a screenshot of that. Perhaps hold the mouse over Open, and take a screenshot of that. And then when the open box appears, take a screenshot of this. So basically, take a screenshot of every single step. And then you can wind up with dozens or even more images, and then all we have to do is tidy them up a bit, rename them, remove the names that are superfluous, where there's a lot of duplication, and then add text before each image on your web page or however you're going to publish this tutorial. And I've found that taking screenshots this way as you do every single step in operating a piece of software or whatever it is that you're demonstrating is a great way of creating a graphic tutorial, and then it's just up to you to tidy up the images, put them in the right or best order, and then add the necessary text around them.